Hey everybody, this is Bill from SITREP Podcast, SITREP 6. And today we're coming to you with our phase 1 of our plan to replay the Battle of Midway. The battle took place between June 4th and June 6th, 1942. This was a pivotal moment in the war in the Pacific between Japan and the United States, as the United States struggled to regain some foothold in the Pacific after the devastating attack of December 7th, 1941 in Pearl Harbor. There was a lot of pieces into going into this battle. The fleets did not know exactly where they were, and they did a lot of wargaming. There were some big mistakes on the Japanese part. I think they were a little overconfident based upon their victories at Pearl Harbor and Coral Sea, and underestimated the United States. However, they had a much larger force than the United States, so it'll be interesting to see when we replay the battle how it goes. Let's look at the map itself. So as you can see by the map, it has a large area because intelligence coming in at the time stated that there was a possible attack on the Aleutian Islands, which you will see in right here as I highlight that for you. So there was a report that a fleet of Japanese naval assets were going to attack the Aleutian Islands, which obviously is part, even though Alaska was not part as a state of the United States, it was a United States territory. And then, of course, Midway, which would have been a halfway point, hence the word Midway, between the Japan and the west coast of the United States. So, and then you can see the Hawaiian Islands are, right here. So it was a jump from Midway to Honolulu to San Francisco and the rest of the west coast of the United States, which made it a very interesting battle. So how are we going to play it? Well, originally I thought we'd do three tables. There'd be the large admiral's table, which would look essentially like what you see right now, where we would grid off, and there would be two separate tables, identical. One would be the American table, one would be the Japanese table, and they'd be separate. So the admirals, the command, the fleet command, the Pacific command of the United States would be in one locale, one room, and the Japanese admiralty would be in a separate room. And essentially, you would have your own, whether they're wood blocks, chits, or little ships to designate each fleet, and you would maneuver on your table while also sending out assets to locate the enemy. And then you would have a game judge that would go between the two tables and maybe pass off some intel, whether that intel is accurate or if it's, foggy or whatever the case may be. So as you move through, this would simulate the true fog of war because you really don't know. You're getting little bits of intelligence through the game master, as the each Navy's intelligence and scouts and all that. We're gaining information. Once you got a better location or you sighted a possible target, then it would scope into a much closer area. And let me see if I can zoom in for you on this. And so we'd have another battle. Oops, let me correct that. And I need to lock that out. Still working on some graphic assets, so please bear with me. All right, let me shrink that out. Perfect. And then we can move the entire screen. And so we'd have another table. Originally, I was thinking of three tables. So they'd have the big admirals or fleet command table. Then you would have your task force commander table, which would be, a much tighter area as you see assets and you're sending out, scout planes or whatever, submarines. And then you would have the battle table, which would be, only a certain amount of hexes. Jen would have to come up with the range of what each hex would be in miles, and then we simulate that. What I'm thinking, truthfully, is maybe two tables. I know Jim, I think, recommended this as well, is that we do two tables, and then we have the big admiral table, and then we have the task force tables. So as they're coming in, we can start trying to identify targets. We'll have to see how scale goes. So that's where we're going. So what did the Battle of Midway truly look like? I'm going to bring up that table now as I go over. And here you can see the actual table. Let me shrink out the menu. So this is what really, truly, here's all the Japanese task force. The invasion force for Midway was your second fleet. You had an occupation force. There was a mine-sweeping group. You had battleships, a carrier strike force, the northern force, which was the one that was supposed to go to the Aleutian Islands with the second carrier group. You had your first carrier group, which was the ones that were essentially in the Battle of Midway. That was the Akagi, the Kaga, the Hiru, and the Soiru, and with battleships, heavy cruisers, etc. So, yeah, it's very interesting point, and I'm going to transition because I'm going to show you the actual battle list that Jim has created. So let me transition here to this camera for a minute while I can bring up those files, and I can show you those files here. I have to go into our special drive. And bring this up. So, yeah, this is an interesting project, to say the least. So, just bear with me as I get this up. So, essentially, we're going to have different scales in this project. Why are you over here? I need you over here, friend. Okay, and let's put this view on full view. Alrighty then. Excuse me while I get all this stuff sorted out here. No. I'm trying to get the page so we can see it. And it's not playing nice. Full screen mode. There we go. All right. I'm going to transition over. So here you can see the Jim broke down everything. So we got our first carrier division, Akagi Kaga. Second carrier is the Hiru and the Soiru, with their Japanese script and the designation and class, and then how much aircraft they are. So the color coding shows which ones we have to print or create. And how are we going to do that, you ask? Well, that's an easy task. Let me get back over here and bring up this. There you see, this is the Akagi right there. So as I bring that around so you can see it, but that is the Akagi, okay? So we're going to print these in 1/1800th scale, and we did some test prints yesterday. They look really nice. They look pretty much exactly what you're seeing on the screen. The only difference being that there is, the way we printed them, we definitely have to, I'm trying to get the, just bear with me here for a second as I shrink that window down again, bring this back up. But a little brittle because we didn't put a platform supports on. We just printed straight to the plate. So it broke some of the ones. But they look pretty good. So we will be printing everything in green in the 1800 scale. So you'll have definitely everything that was built in the force. And then what Jim did is the yellow is what we possibly will need as we get further on. As you can see, there is a ton of ships. So you can see 7th cruisers, the 8th destroyer, minesweeper group. Gray is like lowest priority. It's green, yellow, and then gray, just depending on how we do this. So looking at the American side, I will bring those up because there's a lot less, as you can see. So what do those miniatures look like? Let me open one up. All right, I have to jump off at this point, but let me do this real quick. I'll get rid of the Akagi for a second. Oops, open that back up. And there is the Yorktown class. So that'll be your Yorktown, your Hornet, and your Enterprise. So that's what we'll get printing. And as I just showed you, the Yorktown ship will be the aircraft carrier class for the Yorktown, the Enterprise, and the Hornet, the 3 American air carriers that were in the Battle of Midway. And then all the support ships as we saw in Jim's spreadsheet. So then we get back to the what do we use for a rule set? So we are looking at a rule set that was made by a member that's over on Beasts of War and that shared an article series with Jim for the 75th anniversary. And I will show you that article right now. I'm going to just bring it up here. And as you can see, it's the Battle of Midway 75th anniversary, turning point, and it's a 5-part series. So they do an excellent job of giving you all the background and everything that goes with it. And then they show you examples. These are all from this Class of C's games in 1800 scale, just like we're using. And so it's his own rule set, and it's on a website called www.navalwar.com. And he has cards and all the assets you will need for this amazing battle. It truly was the turning point. So this is probably where we're going. If you guys have other options for kind of the similar thing we're talking about, please reach out to us and let us know. And make sure you like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And check out this series of articles on Beast of War on Tabletop. And we will keep in touch. So thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Take care.